aka Spirit Mother, and I would like to welcome you to Spirit Teaching Going With Itself on TikTok. I'm also live on my Facebook. If you're new to my channel, I always recommend and really encourage you to read the description on my YouTube channel, Spirit Teaching Going With Itself, to get a better understanding of what it is that I do bring forward. Okay? Today is, not all people look at it, but today is said to be Good Friday. The day that Christ was supposed to have been crucified, which, I don't get that part because you only die on one day. So now people got offended by that. Well, then, if you're going to get offended because I say something, then I guess my channel is not for you because you're going to get offended a lot. Okay? You'll like me, hate me, love me, loathe me. I'll make you laugh, I'll make you cry, I'll piss you off. You want to punch me upside the head, but hey, keep your hands to yourself and by all means bring it energetically. But you might want to just listen for a bit. Okay? Because today I'm talking about, is the world overpopulated? Is the world really overpopulated? Okay, because they're saying, oh, we're overpopulated, we have to take out some people who are overpopulated. But did anybody ever take the time to actually look at the size of the earth compared to the ratio of the number of people in the world? And as I did that, my TikTok screen just kind of glitched. So I decided, hey, I'm going to ask those questions because, you never, don't ask questions. Just go with what they tell you. So I asked, what is the square footage? The square footage of the earth, okay? The total surface area of the earth is approximately 97 million square miles, 5 to 10 million square kilometers. In square feet, that is roughly 5.49 times 10 to the power of 15, what have you, 5.49 quadrillion square feet. About 71% is water and only 29% is land. Okay. So in some countries, don't they have houses on water? Okay. Because you can build houses on water. You just have to, build it properly. Okay. So where did I go? I decided that I was going to ask how many people can live in an average of 1 square mile. Comfortably. Comfortable. Modern urban living typically ranges from 10,000 to 50,000 people per square mile. Okay, so I read on. Providing a mix of residential, commercial, and green spaces. Dense high-rise cities can support over 100,000 people per square mile while comfortably. Walkable suburban areas usually hold around 5,000 to 10,000 per square mile. So then we'll go to the next part of it. Okay. Okay, I just read that. So now we'll go to my question of how many square miles would you need to have 8 billion people live in comfortably? Okay, because they're telling you we're overpopulated. But according to this, to house 8 billion people comfortably, similar to NYC density, approximately 289,000 to 300,000 square miles. And between land and earth, there's 197 million square miles. So let's go back to land area is 57 square miles. So you could fit 8 people in 200 to 300,000 square miles comfortably. But they're saying that we are overpopulated. And people say, oh, well, we're talking with regards to food. So that is an excuse again, right? So let's dig out a calculator. Where the heck did my calculator go? Give me my calculator. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, so we'll say 57. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We go up to 5,700,000. Okay, so let's. That was mean. Okay, so we will go, what's it say, 57 million? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And we'll go the highest ratio of it, of 300,000 square miles that would house 8 billion people comfortably. We're not even up to 8 billion people yet. Okay, it's like 7 billion and something. Okay, close to 8 billion. So we're going with 8 billion. Okay. So we have 57 million, and we'll take away, what was it? It said we'll take away, let's go 350,000 just to be on the safe side. Okay. So now we'll take the 57 million and we'll square miles, and we'll take away 350,000 square miles, which it said 300 square miles would house 8 billion people comfortably, which is the size of Texas, by the way. So that would leave a total of 56,650,000 square miles of land. But somehow you say we're overpopulated. Who did the math on that one? See? I guess somebody got butthurt and insulted on that. I'm serious. Like, who really did the fucking math? Because that's the problem. People don't look into things themselves. You just go by what the narrative is saying, and then you say, oh, well, we need to make these people extinct. There's too many people in the world. Do you know how not only ridiculous, but do you understand how stupid that sounds? I'm saying that the system has made people stupid. People say, I don't care how many people's in the world, but yet you will go and you will say, no, there's plenty of food. It's just not being dispersed appropriately. Because you go to like different stores, okay, grocery stores and even like fast food places, or not just fast food places, but like even Tim Hortons or places like that. And the majority of the time, what do they do? You see a lot of the food wasted and thrown in the bins. And then some of the food you'll see in grocery stores, and you look and it's expired, and it's like it makes no sense. But people are still believing a narrative that you have to kill other people because there's too many people in the world. No, you actually have to take those highly greedy ones and take them to task for it. That's why many people know that's why they put you in confined spaces, because you take a multitude of different ant colonies, okay? Because that's what we're like. We're like ants. There's many different species of ants. Ants, and you put like certain ants, you mix them up, and what do? They fucking rip each other apart, right? Because it's all about territorial. What way is easier to hunt prey? Having them all confined into one space? Because everybody could live comfortably throughout the world, but you leave it in the hands of what you class as most powerful, which, in essence, they are the weakest. And I say they are the weakest is because they have to bully a population and turn a population on one another because they can't lead any other way. So for water area, it's 140 million square miles. But you say, oh, well, there's not enough water. And you say, oh, well, we're losing water. We're losing water. Where the fuck is the water going to? Please explain to me, where is the water going to? Is somebody taking and in the earth, and they're pulling a plug? Because you drink, what happens? You piss it right back out, right? Oh, sorry, did I offend people by saying that word? Hey, sometimes I'm in my masculine. And I was once told that sometimes you have to speak the language because I'm here for the harder souls, the ones that, sometimes you have to speak their language. But they never like that, so they'll hang up on you. But they expect you to listen to what they got to say, right? So that's the thing. Like you're taking it, and does it sound like a stutter? Well, you take it how you want. And if you want to insult me, by all means, that's just a reflection on you. So you take and you look at the population, 800 billion, and 800 billion could be housed comfortably in a radius, in a space of 350,000 square foot, or square foot, sorry, square miles, which is the size of Texas. Okay, so you could fit everyone comfortably in Texas. But see, the thing is, you have the ones that, you're they're hoarding all the land. They say, oh, well, we're using it for farming. Are you really? Because, like I said, it's easier to put a herd all in the same place, right? Right. So, okay, so that's water area. And high density mid rise using a density similar to the density city like Singapore, you would need a space about the size of Egypt or Colombia, 1 million. So 386,000 square miles. Oh, that's what it's saying that there is. Can never understand that. And you know, they say about the Sexual Sterilization Act that is to depopulate the world. You know, it was Thomas Edison's son. Uh, um, he was one connected with it, and the Sexual Sterilization Act from 1920 was 1928. They actually, it was a group of farmers, doctors, psychiatrists, therapists, you know, the ones that you go to for help, said that you were infidels. So that tells me that those people that created that doesn't give a shit about the people. And now that the people are waking up, what do they want to do? They want to exterminate you, like having an exterminator come in and get rid of all the ants in your house. That's what the sexual sterilization act is. And people believe that it was only one culture that was enduring it. No. Got a big ego much? Because it was used on everyone. If they seem you to be mentally ill is actually part of the awakening, which you don't understand it because you're actually experiencing the spirit, and that's what's going to wake you up. And they know that. Why do you think, like, I was watching a thing, and it's like, what is it? 1 billion people out of 8 billion people are undergoing mental health issues? Don't you think that's a lot of fucking people to be going through mental health issues? Even though, like, you know, you say, well, there's a war and everything going on. Well, I wonder why. Do you get that yet? You know, shit. It's not about going preaching God, preaching God, preaching God, preaching God. What are you preaching about God? Because are you actually like bringing things forward, or do you just you keep reciting stuff out of a Bible, but you bring no truth to light? The real truth comes from everyday people who see what's really going on in the world. And they're the ones that are brave enough. And they're not saying, oh, well, we're waiting for Jesus to come and save us. They're realizing that that part of the Christ, it comes from you. The sword of Aaron, that is your tongue. That is the truth. But people are, oh, I need a savior. I need a savior. When are you going to fucking save yourself? Because what if your savior never comes? Are you going to sit in a fucking corner? Oh, my savior. Oh, my savior. He's not coming. Well, no. Are you doing anything yourself? Or are you expecting somebody else to always save you? But go back and preaching your Bible and then tell everybody, oh, we're overpopulated. They really do. We need a war so we can get rid of some people. The people you really need to get rid of are the ones that are creating the war and making you fight it for them. You know, they say, what did they say? When the locusts come, go watch the movie Ants. Or is it A Bug's Life? Hopper, the bully. That's considered the one percenters that keep, you know, the less fortunate. I was watching a thing. It's like the wolf, the Alpha Omega, and you're saying Jesus, your Jesus was the Alpha Omega. Yeah, he was lording over the servants, but not the servants of God, the servants of a system, and now they're gone rogue. They're saying, fuck you. So you'll say, oh, the rebels, you are lawless. No, we are not lawless. We just don't see where your man-made laws helps the people. To keep people from fighting, yes, but your system, your leaders of your system are the reason why you need it in place because they are the ones and the ones causing the friction. That's why when you look in your biblical text, it's like everything is here, there, and everywhere, and it's always about kill this person, kill that person. Don't forget the child sacrifice, which was the original sin, and that was done by Abel, and God accepted it. But that's the reason why they're saying the world is overpopulated, because this isn't the first time they did it. They were doing it every time the world started standing up. That was like your World War One, your World War Two. What did they do? You know, even after the war, right around the war, what happened? The Spanish flu. More people died in the Spanish flu, and that was right after they come back from war, or right around the time that war was ending. So they had to call the herd, right? Because the same thing, because the population was waking up, and the only way that you're going to keep the people asleep, is by throwing people into a psychiatric unit, and that's why, like Donald Trump says, that he wants to bring back more penitentiaries. Dude, you should be the first one to go, and all your buddies that you want to stroke each other's ego while sitting across the chair from one another so you can see. And then don't forget to measure. Like shit, man, you. Oh, I'll even supply the measuring tape for you. So sit back and really look at it of what they're really doing with regards to the population. And anyone who believes for 1 minute that the world is overpopulated, holy shit. They're awfully gullible. It's like you would believe a lie before you would believe the truth. You would believe what you hear because it takes work and effort to check for yourself. You say about the QAnon, okay? The QAnon. You're looking through, you're going to see all sides of it. And that's the part where you need to look with a clear eye. That's the all-seeing eye. That's the eye that they want to tell you is demonic. And the reason why they tell you it's demonic is because then you see their nefarious workings. See, I talk with spirit a lot, and the reason why I do is because spirit doesn't shut me down when I question things or when I say about things like most other people. They'll talk about certain things, but once I start opening my mouth and saying what I see, what I'm observing, well, I get shut down, and I'm always talking when I'm rarely ever talking to you. Because I do. I hear people talking, and the minute I start saying something like now, I just sit back, and the majority of the time I observe and I listen to how manipulated and narrow-minded people have been programmed to be. Am I insulting you? No, you're insulting yourself by taking everything they say as being the almighty word. If God is infinite, then how can you perceive one person's description or theory as being all that is? If everything is limitless and anything is possible. You go to school, you're not allowed to ask questions. Except, hey, teach, I need help. Or, hey, teach, can I go to the bathroom? I really got to go or I'm going to shit myself. No, you have to stay there. Meanwhile, your rectum is sphinxing up or your bladder is so goddamn cramped that you're in agonizing pain. Aren't you in pain yet from the programmed narrative? Doesn't your ass hurt yet? Not done getting your rings yet. I guess you don't like that, do you? Seriously, my channel's not for everyone. And it's sure the hell ain't for the soft-hearted or the ones that aren't ready to wake up yet because you're gonna get pissed off at me. You're gonna tell me I'm a fucking liar and I'm a moron idiot. With all due respect, I'm not the one going with one narrative and saying, "Oh, well, that's right," and then another sentence you're saying, "Oh, well, God is limitless." So if God is limitless, then how is anything limited? That's why I laugh. Like when people say, "Oh, the world is overpopulated, we got to exterminate some people." How about you be the first to fucking go then? Seriously, go do your homework. You don't mind sitting in a fucking classroom and "Oh, I'm smart. I'm smart." Meanwhile, you're making fun of other people. No, you're not smart. You're well programmed. Because the true scientists are the ones that ask the questions and don't continue with the same narrative and kiss the circuit breaker's ass. Oh my lord, here, bend over till I wring your hole or smell it. Dog's gonna sniff a dog's ass, right? Hey, it's Good Friday. It's trial day, right? Che mototoressa da Pocatoia hanno so. God forbid you allow a woman to say anything. Because in their theory, women aren't worthy of life. Well, if women aren't worthy of life, then why are you male? Why are you men going and transgendering into a fucking female? Oh, right, because you want to infiltrate it because you know that the women are the true leaders. But it's more of the feminine aspect. So that's why you see a lot of these high elites or what have you, and you're seeing a lot. Oh, well, they're going and getting sex changes to become women. Of course they are, because they knew this was coming. What better way to infiltrate yourself into the system to still remain the leaders, but still have that male ego? Stroke it real good. Don't forget, don't stroke too hard because next to you might get a little jealous. People will say, well, that's not very ladylike talk. Well, then I guess it's my masculine speaking because that's the only language these people know how to speak. Seriously, I don't know how many times I've heard people say about like with regards to the royal lineage, how many people are in there are switched from male to female as transgender, and they've been doing it for centuries. But you'll say, no, they haven't. Oh, yes, they have. You'll even say about your leaders. What is it? The leader of France, you say his wife Bridget or whatever the hell her name is well, yeah, whoever she is actually a male. Well, she does. She actually walks like a male. She walks like she's got a penis between her legs, and she's trying to keep it from being shown. But you know, or he. Watch Ace Ventura, Pet Detective when Nature Calls or something like that, and or what one is it where they have the dolphin and the friggin' officer. His pee gets found. Mister, what is it? Jim Carrey called not Mister. I was going to say Mister Winky. If you're transgender and you take offense to this, I'm going to ask you why are you? Because I'll tell you right now, it's ones like that that's causing the problems within the community of why others aren't understanding it. So maybe you should be going to them instead of going after the people. But oh, right, you're lining right up beside them because they're giving you exactly what you want. I'm not saying it to be rude. I'm saying it because I'm being honest about it. And that's the problem. People don't want to be honest because they're afraid that somebody's going to get butthurt or somebody's going to get mad at them. If people get mad at you because you're speaking up a truth that they can't handle yet, and they're not getting it and understanding what it is that you're bringing forward, that's a them thing. Because people always cater to the ones that are giving them what they want until they're no longer giving them what they want. And then they act like they're on the people's side. Wait a minute. You weren't on our side when you were getting what you wanted. And we were getting shit on and we were being called homophobic. Even the Prime Minister of Canada was telling people, you're homophobic. Why, dude? Are you a fucking transgender? Are you homophobic against your own and you got to keep saying you're homophobic? With all due respect, you left your wife and you went with a questionable singer. But see, the ones who idolize people like that will say, how dare you say about that? He loves her. Does he? Or does she really have a pee-pee and he wants it? I'm like, Jesus. Like I said, I'll make you laugh, I'll make you cry, I'll piss you off, and you want to punch me upside the head. But hey, keep your hands to yourself. But bring it energetically because thank you, it fucking feels good. Because that just tells me that deep down, it infuriates you because you know the possibility is great. You say Mark Carney, he has a child that's transgender. This ain't dumb shit at transgender, but you'll take it that way, right? Because you get butthurt by it. But listen to what you say about straight people. So when you put these leaders in charge, and then you shit on people like myself and say, well, you don't go, you don't vote. Why don't you go vote? Because it doesn't matter what fucking person you vote for, you're still getting a wiener or a douche. Because you don't see them. You only hear what they say, like Donald Trump. Okay, we'll use Donald Trump first off. He said that he built his whole campaign on the Epstein files. But all of a sudden he wants to bury them. But Mega are still standing up for them. Why? Is your name on the list? Or are you one of the ones that's supplying them with the people? See? People look at me like I'm crazy, but hey, at least I'm not afraid to express how I feel or tell people what I've found out. But most people, they don't want the discomfort. They don't want to be alone. They don't want to be shunned. Well, I'd rather be shunned than live in a world full of liars, posers, and you say about the meek. Do you even fucking know what meek means? Because meek ain't the ones that sit around and say nothing. Meek are the ones that just got backed into a corner for far too long, starved, their family is hurt and taken from them, and their shelter taken from them, and they're ready to brawl. But your government says that's terrorism. With all due respect, they are the terrorizers, playing savior. It's like, hey, I was seeing a lot of cats. Like there's been two in the past couple days, and I can feel it. It's like my body wants to go. Like it's out there alone. And it's like it's feeling like it just wants to go get them, but it can't. But what people say about we're overpopulated, and people say that, oh, they're using the Sexual Sterilization Act on our people. No, they're using it on everyone, not just your people. Do you ego trip much? I'm not being rude. I'm just stating the obvious. And you'll get butthurt by that. And I really don't care anymore. I don't care if you want to be my friend. I don't care if you want to talk to me. It's like the guy who was talking about these young, well, they're American black people, women, would talk about white women, about the way they do their hair. Oh, well, that's our culture. Then why are you, like he said, why are you trying to turn their hair blonde and straighten it? Why are you using bleach to modify your pigment? But this is what the system is doing. So it's telling you, like, getting you to claim this because it puts it in your face and it teaches you in the classroom. But you would ever, like, when I tried going back to find out more information with regards to the Mi'kmaq or Micmac, it kept taking me only as far back as the European settlers, or just in the early 1700s. Wouldn't take me back really any further than that. It's that part of you're claiming that they used the Sexual Sterilization Act on only you, but they're actually using it on everyone, and that's why many women are not able to carry their babies to full term anymore for the most part. That's why women are having to go have therapy and to take uh, hormone therapy to have a chance of getting pregnant, because if they can decrease your chances of becoming pregnant and you have to look to the system for help, then they're profiting off of something that was very easy to happen naturally. But people say that's not happening at all. Really? Then why has egg count gone down? Why has sperm count gone down? Hormones in total. But then I know somebody that they went for hormone therapy or what have you. Like they went to try and get help to get pregnant. And many people can't afford to do that. So it's not something that is their choice. It's something that your system, that your programmers are putting into place because they're saying they're overpopulated. No, it's because children are coming in to they're born awake and you can't put them to sleep anymore. So that's why they call you rebels and deterrents and juveniles and what have you. But with all due respect, they are the ones, which they deserve none, they are the ones turning people into criminals. And a lot of the time they're using minors. That's why they put that into place, so that they can use minors to conduct their criminal offenses for them, because kids won't go to jail. But there are many people, because they get a pension, they wouldn't say shit if they had a mouthful. But they'd freely say it at home or just in a normal discussion. But they would not speak up about it out of fear that they would lose their monies, that they lose their pension. You know, there's a lot of what is your military. They're the ones that went out and fought for you, and many of them are losing a lot of their stuff. Many military, ex-military people are actually living on the streets. They're suffering from PTSD and mental health because you know they were experimented on. But people say that's not true at all. Fuck it ain't. You say PTSD is the memory that keeps coming back. What else did they witness? It's when somebody wipes your memory that you start to have more of the PTSD, because the PTSD is constantly trying to remember, and it's spirit trying to show you. And that's why they keep telling you, here, let's give you a pill. Because they don't want you remembering the truth. And then they tell you you have to sign an oath. You have to sign an oath to protect their wrongdoings. Because I know someone who worked and they were, well, they were a health tech. And they were putting in mahogany cabinets and everything in the chief commanding officers' bunkers and everything like that. Well, that's not what the money was meant for. It wasn't meant for your luxury. Meanwhile, they had to go in dumpsters from their ports, and they had to jury rig ships together so that they would stay afloat when they were out to sea. And then they're saying, oh, well, we're taking this money and putting it in the military. No, you're laundering the money, and the money's really not going to the military. But you'll continue to say it is, right? And this is why they want to call the herd. This is why they're creating a war, a distraction, and they're blaming you as the civilians of being the brunt of it. And they're putting you in the front line when, hey, you know, they should be the first on the line because they like to class themselves as royalty, right? So you're the one with all the power, but yet you're sending the peasants to fight for you. But what is it you call them? Patriots. So you want them to have loyalty to you, but you have no fucking loyalty to them. Most of you don't even have loyalty to your own families. So when I look at a chessboard and I see the freaking powerful ones hiding out behind the peasants. And they're the ones starting the fight because they want the gold from the next people over because they put you in poverty. Because it's like that jealous God that don't get enough. So it's got to hoard everything in. Donald Trump, he did a thing and he said about going and taking the oil from Iran, but yet in another sentence he says, oh, we have all the oil we need here in the United States. Well, if you have all the fucking oil you need in the United States, why the hell are you trying to take it from Iran? Fuck, you're a moron, man. And you tell everybody else that they're stupid? No, you're just plain out no greedy and you can't even lord over your own fucking diaper because you're too busy shitting yourself all the time. Wonder why you're shitting yourself. Oh, right. Because you want somebody else to clean the shit up for you. And there are many, there are ones out there in high positions. But should you know that Donald Trump is just another distraction? It's not just Donald Trump who doesn't want the Epstein files to come out. There's many other world leaders who don't want it to come out, and they're getting on his ass about it. So, like I said, even if it was my worst enemy, if I knew that they were right in any way, I would admit and say, hey, they got a point. I'm not fond of him, but I know that he comes off stupid, but in ways he's stupid. He's actually putting it out there in riddles and parables. He can't come out directly and say, but he's showing you that your government is run by a cult. That's why when you see, he says, oh, Christianity, Christianity, and you have them in the office and they're all putting their hands on them. Oh, not one of them. It's all a big show. And that is just pointing out to you that your governments are run by cult leaders. Do you know there's two sides to the occult? There's the dark shadow, and then there's the light that works to counteract the destruction. But that's what Donald Trump is showing you. And he's trying to make a name for himself and profit off it. It's like he's the he's the cow, and they have him strapped down. The bull. So there are things that I see that Donald Trump is doing, he's doing right, and then there are things that it's just asinine. But it's you keep going back and forth. But the main thing that he's showing you in those things, they say, "Oh, well, we pray before this or that." Who the fuck are you praying to? People got irritated with Donald Trump when he said about the vaccines or when he said about the Clorox, Lysol, and stuff like that. It did. It has it right on. There was a guy when I was in Alberta in 2020 when I went up to get medical treatment, and I was boarding in this house. The man that owned the house showed me where it said, and like that, it had said about COVID even before COVID became a thing. So what does that tell you? And it said that it'll get rid of COVID for you. You spray it, and it'll get rid of COVID. So when he was saying about drink bleach, anybody who took that fucking literally, I'm going to say you thought he was stupid. You would be the ones that fucking took it. So that's that part of, so you'd follow your cult leader even to your own death instead of questioning it. You might be a little fucked up with all due respect. You're just as fucked up if you did something like that and then you want to blame him because he said it. You think you shouldn't question your leader? People say, no. Well, if you don't question your leader, if your leader wanted to end you because you butter its ego, you wouldn't question the intentions. How do you truly learn? I'm sure the fuck it's not just sitting there and just listening, like going by everything you say as a narrative. That's not how you learn. You learn what you're being taught, but you don't learn anything outside of that, right? So how can you say that people are a genius or they're smart if they're only focused on one narrative and maybe you're smart in that narrative, but you know fuck all about anything outside of it. And you will argue with the person until they're blue in the face because that's not what you were taught. So this is why they want to call, and this is why they keep saying about certain individuals, they're terrorists, they're terrorists. They'll tell you that somebody bringing truth to light are terrorists or they're conspiracy theorists or what have you, because it goes against them when they're actually the terrorist because they have you living in constant fear. And now they have you in fear of a war coming to your country, one that they are creating themselves so that they can't be removed from power. It's time to go grab them by their little ears. I watched a thing of, and they had people dressed up in dog face costumes. Does that not tell you anything yet? You like your furries, do you? That's go around sniff each other's ass. That I did find very disturbing. And considering, people are saying about how their children are acting like animals right now. Is the costume to mock that true Christ? Because you don't want to believe it, but it was the half man, and you say half beast, but the beast was more of the dog, the wolf. Like I said earlier, you say about, like, about Saint Christopher in your Christian text, because there was also another one. It was Set, the brother to Isis and Osiris, and Set was the one who raped Horus or had sex with Horus. Because this stuff has been going on even in that time, but time has no limit. Everything is happening in the now, and that's why you're seeing, and you can actually look back and forth and see the same stories. You look at government buildings and you say that they've only been built like so many years ago. Are you sure about that? Because they look an awful lot like what you depict in Roman times. So is Roman times the past, or is it the future? Because I believe it's showing you it all at the same time. That's why in some countries you say they're third world countries. When you're flying and different things seem like you're in different timelines. Like it's like you look around and it's like holy shit, man, this still feels like ancient. Well, it's because you're going through different forms of timelines as you travel. But you won't believe that because, oh, they don't teach us that in school. Of course not. Because they're not even taught that. They're taught the narrative, they're taught to teach what is being taught to them. That's why when you question them, teachers will get irritated because there are even teachers who question the stuff, but they don't say anything about it for fear they're going to lose their jobs. How dare you question a system that created you? Well, the system didn't create you. It created the tyranny of it. It put the illusion. And you tell other people you don't live in reality? With all due respect, you're the ones not living in reality, and we're seeing the truth. You're living in the denial of it. So this is why they're like every time war comes about, it's because it's a rise. It's the people are waking up. The people are starting to stand up and saying, we're not taking this shit no more. So they got to put you back to sleep somehow, right? So what better way to put people back to sleep than cause a war where everyone is in fear and their vibration goes goes back down. Because like my ex-husband said, like, usually during a war, interest rates usually, what is it they say? He said the interest rates drop, but for some reason everything's going up in price. It's because they're at the last ditch attempt and they want to get as much out of it as they can. Like I said, Donald Trump in a thing, interviews back years ago, said that you need to sneak in and you need to take Iran's oil, but yet in his podium he says, oh, well, don't buy oil from someone else, buy it from us. We have lots of oil. And if you have lots of oil, why do you want to go steal it from Iran? Why do you want to take it from China or any other country? Sip your own oil. Don't get from Canada. Don't get from any other country, man. You got all you need right there. But see, the thing is, I think there's more people that would object to what you believe. Because if you truly believed it, then you would show the people that you already have the oil there, and oil prices in each country wouldn't be so fucking expensive. And see, the people, like, listen, certain things that R.F. Kennedy Jr. said, I agree with it. People say, well, you're stupid for that. Really, am I? Or do you just pick sides and forget about finding out the truth of the matter? Because you don't like the person, or you don't like the Democrats, or you don't like the Republicans. Republican, it's like Republican. Say the Democrats are demonic. And then you have your conservatives and liberals. So that's a part where, you really got to look who the real terrorists are. Because what do you think they're doing in these summits and these big fucking meetings? They're scheming, they're plotting. A lot of them are together, but then you have the ones in there that, they're observing. But most of the time, it's all about power and control. And this is why you see every time World War starts, it's because people are waking up, so then they bring about a form of a sexual sterilization act and they disguise it as being something else. And that's how they infiltrated into your communities. People are saying about old diseases coming back. Do you ever wonder why? People don't believe it, but they're like, what do you think they're doing with those needles that they poke? And people say, you can't say that. Oh, yes, I can, because I looked into it. They're putting fetus. They're putting aborted fetal tissue and cells into vaccines. They're putting different things into vaccines, which is creating the diseases to flare up again. about what you put in and on your body, because you say, oh, you say that a lot of the diseases are airborne. Are they really actually airborne? Because the quickest way of disease spreading is through the bloodstream. That's the quickest way to get any form of diseases in the human body. When you say the bird flu, is it possible that the bird flu came from injections and they used it? Because when they say about the bird flu, like those emus or ostriches or what have you in BC that they took and they destroyed, right? Who tested them? How many times do you take your animals in? How many of you have animals that live in the house, but somehow they end up with a disease and there's nothing else around for them to contract the disease from that would carry it? Most things now are you got to get an injection, right? It's going into the bloodstream. But you won't believe that, will you? Excuse me. That's the part of the sexual sterilization. Maybe you should take the time instead of screaming about stuff and not doing anything to look into it because you want to fit in with other people or a certain group or what have you. Don't want to go against the group, right? They might start mocking you or laughing at you or targeting you. Because I know my ex-husband, he'll say certain things, but then when you're out and about and it arises, well, he automatically takes the side of the opposite of the opposite thing of what he had said. So hey, seriously, and anyone like him that does that, because that's what I observe. I observe people saying one thing, and then when they're with another group of people, and the other group of people are saying the opposite of what they say, they'll join the opposite of what they had already said. Which makes me don't like, for the simple fact that you are a poser for both sides. You go with the narrative of the conversation because you say, I don't want conflict. So you'd rather watch people die and suffer. That makes you a very sad human being. See, kids will say something, the kids are right about it. Parents will shut them up. Tell them that they're wrong, but do you ever check? Probably not, because you think children are stupid. Roberta, do you ever sit in conversation? Child say probably no. I've seen more children more intelligent than some adults. But like I said, I've seen adults say about what's going on in the world, but then when there's someone else who's saying the opposite of it, they'll go against their own words. And my question is, why? What are you afraid of? Afraid of being rejected? Or afraid that they're going to do to you what they're doing to the person that you've already agreed with? You are the kind of people that would cause a fight because you would tell people one thing and then you go back to the other person, tell them the opposite thing, and then when you got confronted in front of someone else, you would make that person, you would try to ridicule that person and make people think that they were crazy and stupid and that you didn't say that at all, which you actually did. Which makes you a bold-faced player. And then I'd have to question your integrity. See, Max, he can have conversations with other people, but he can't have one with me. Because whenever I go to say something, he always tells me that I'm trying to debate with him. No, you're allowed to say how you see it, but the minute I start talking, I'm told that that I'm always talking, or I always say, oh, I always got something to say. And he's not the only one that does it to me. I've called many people out on what they have said to me about different things, and then what I've heard them say to other people about it. It's like, what? That's not what you said to me. Well, yeah, it is. Actually, it's not. And do I have to start recording you all the time? I record my ex-husband. My ex-husband come down and he said, you're not allowed to record me. Yeah, I am. If it's my conversation, I'm allowed if I want to. He said, well, I'm going to start recording you. I was like, good, go ahead. Maybe everybody should start recording each other all the time. But even when you record certain people, because I did it to him years ago, before, right after my car accident, or before my car accident, I was recording him. And I played it to him afterwards. And he bold-faced looked at me and said, I didn't say that. Well, if you didn't say that, then who the fuck is in that camera saying it? It's like when when I scroll through TikTok, I see the different, I see the different versions. They're saying one thing in one interview, and the same type of thing that they're talking about in another interview. They're saying the total opposite of what they just said. So that's the parallel world, right? Because what you're observing and people don't get it, and they'll tell you, you and your spirit, you, spirit. Yes, me and my spirit. Because it's that part, the parallel worlds is like the, the physical aspect and the spirit aspect of it, and it's living on two timelines. So it's that part. It's almost like the spirit and the physical aspect of things are fighting one against the other. The feminine is more of the spirit, and the male, the masculine, is more of the physical, the materialistic aspect of things. That's why you see more men saying about not having money or hoarding money or what have you, because you can take offense to that all you want, but you look at Donald Trump. He's weeding out all the women, okay? Because Pam Bondi just got fired, and somebody said that, oh well, she's just get moved to a different position. Well, I looked into that. She's actually going to something in the private sector. And Donald Trump is saying about, like, with regards to, I forget what it was, but he was even trying to say that to put the blame on his secretary woman, Levitt, Caroline Levitt. He even tried to put the blame on her. It's like, dude, do you never take accountability for what you say or do? Of course not, because you think you're the fucking prince or the king. Shit, man. And then they were showing about, like, people saying about, like, the population is too much, but they're bringing robots in. And what was her face? Uh, Melania was walking out on stage with the robot. Well, she was walking just like the fucking robot was. So, like, was she a robot? Because she walked the exact same way. Was that trying to tell you something? Because I did put up, like, a few things. Like, I showed you a video where Donald Trump was on the airplane, and all of a sudden there was a light that flashed in his eye. Like, it grew in his eye and then went back, like something was rebooting. And the same thing happened with Hillary Clinton. I even put it up on my Facebook, or I don't know if I put it on my Facebook, but I put it on my TikTok. And I even pointed it out. But see, that's the things that people say about it, but do you really observe it, or is it just because you want to be heard? And it doesn't matter what side you say. You want to be heard on this side, and you want to be heard on this side, even though it contradicts what you say from one side to the other. It's like I ask questions and I sit with spirit, and I ask questions out loud to spirit. I don't use Ouija. Last time I used the Ouija board, that's when I had my first wake up. And holy fuck, man, what a wake up that was. It was a wake up so bad that I had to go and have an exorcism done. I heard somebody say psychosis. Really? Really? Go back to sleep now. We'll wake you up when it's all done and over with. But just remember, your dreams will show you. That's why people are having really messed up dreams. You're having the dreams of the remembrance, what you're being shown of different forms of what your ancestors, but the only way you can understand it or relate to it is by seeing it in what you class as your fucking modern world, which is just a materialistic, disposable world, because everything you buy is disposable. Nothing lasts. A computer, it's supposed to, the computers are automatically supposed to be able to evolve like a person, because that's how your computer is that part of you. But yet you got to go and spend thousands of dollars because the newest phone come out. So you're constantly disposing of other things so that you can have the newest version. You say artificial intelligence. Well, it's only artificial intelligence because you give it the power to be. Because the true intelligence is the alpha intelligence, which is the connection. Spirit will guide you, spirit will tell you, and people say, well, that's a psychosis. But when you tell them something that spirit told you, you see the look on their face that, get them in a psychiatric unit. We can't have that coming out. So, like I said, Donald Trump wanting to bring about more psychiatric units. No, how about you train people to understand what it is that people are experiencing? Because if you have 1 billion people in the world and they're all going through what you class as a mental health crisis, it's actually spiritual. And it becomes a mental health because you don't do your job. Because you teach the wrong aspects of it. Because I'll tell you right now, as a pastor or a priest or anything like that, once you call, I am the father. You're not my father. You don't represent my father. You were actually supposed to be the therapist, the healers. But what do you fucking heal? You send your panhandling pans around saying, donate. God wants you to give us your money so that we can diverse it to the people instead of actually leaving the fucking money with the people that you keep hoarding because you say, oh, well, we're a non-profitable organization, but, hey, let's see, let's go over this again in the year from 2018 to 2019. One church or one congregation alone saved 78 billion dollars in a year. But none of that money went to the people that needed it. And you say your people, you say that you're God's prophets. Your job wasn't to come here and preach about a book. Your job was to come here to help people heal. Let's see the truth for what it is. You were supposed to be healers. They'll say, oh, well, we go and we do some exorcisms. Well, how about, like, I went to, I contacted the pastor and said, hey, I need to talk with you with regards to spiritual. He told me to go to a mental health hospital. God says, you don't belong there. You're not doing your job. Because I don't care what fucking religion you are, you're all preaching about spirit, right? But not many of you understand it. So, because when people like myself step forward and we start bringing the truth to light, you have to shut us down and tell us that we are mentally incompetent of making decisions for ourselves. We are mentally incompetent, and don't listen to those people because they are deluded. I'd rather be considered deluded than fucking crazy. The church was never meant to make money, but you infiltrated the church and the government. You put it together, so that's how you're money laundering. And you say, "Oh well, we're here to help the people." No, you're here to help yourself because you don't give a shit about the people. And it's not all, because there are some out there that really do actually want to help people, but they have the ones at the top that say, "Oh no, we could only do this much, or we're only allowed to give this much fucking charity, but we have billions of dollars that we're sitting on, and we're paying ourselves the money because that father, whoever, Father Dan or whatever his name is, he acts like he's holier than thou because he left his position in a high financial position where he was working with people's money, but then he just went to another congregation where you can launder billions of dollars and say that you're doing God's work. Doing God's work does not profit you, but you are profiting from it and saying you're not. This is why they want to call it one. This is why world always breaks out, because you have that awakened consciousness. So they take the strongest and send them off to war, which instead of, if it's a world war, shouldn't, whoever is fighting at the moment, just keep your troops at home so that you have ones to protect you if they show up on your doorstep. You teach people to shoot guns. Canadians, I know, Canadians are considered the peacekeepers of the world. And then you tell us we're weak. You fucking back us in the corner and then see how fucking you just remember, we're a bunch of fucking mutts here. We have the indigenous, we have the native, we have the Scot, the British, the Irish, the Celtics, which, Irish, what have you. But we have the scrappers. We're very calm, and we are the meek. And our family members are, it's like our families are scattered throughout the world. With all due respect to the ones in the States that keep calling us the pansies, we are not pansies. The true sprite you always put in power. And it does not see you as an equal, it does not see you as its friend. It sees you as someone that it can steal from and tell you that it's yourself. Donald Trump, when he was chosen, I can fix this. Have you fixed anything yet? Because I see you creating a lot of chaos. So that was what you were chosen to do. But thank you, because your chaos is actually making people go. But now that they're awake, you're having second thoughts. Because the one thing that is really going to wake people up was the Epstein files, and not just the Epstein files, but all the ones that are affiliated. And I'm not talking about just like small things because an email or this and that. I'm talking about the ones that were actually fully involved with the SNA or whatever, with like the child sacrifice, with the freaking cannibalism, with the freaking everything. So it wasn't just Epstein. Epstein was more of the goat, and then that Pete from Palm Beach that's on here, and you keep trying to say that you're not Jeffrey Epstein. You're fucking Jeffrey Epstein. Seriously, you live in Palm Beach. Palm Beach was where Jeffrey Epstein had a place. You're just like him, and the only thing you did was try to make yourself sound like you were a fucking ditzy. What, you got fired from your last one because you got caught, so now you have to portray yourself. I know how doppelgangers work. I've seen my ex-husband's doppelganger, but strangely he has the same name. So let me see. Jeffrey Epstein, was he one of the Peters of the Bible? Because I could even go back to Oak Island, and I see it there too. You had no offense to these people, but I'm seeing the aspect of Donald McGinnis, Anthony Vaughan, John Smith, and Samuel Ball. With all due respect, yes, I do have a right to talk about this shit because my sixth grade granddaddy owned lot 32 right at the swamp, and then my other grade sixth, seventh grade granddaddy owned the land where Nolan Cross is. And then John Smith is actually the stepson to my great granddaddy. And John Smith's family was related to my sixth great granddaddy on my mom's side and my sixth, seventh great granddaddy on my dad's side. And Donald Trump, unfortunately, his second or third great granddaddy was my sixth or seventh great granddaddy. So yes, I do have a right to talk about this shit. And Samuel Ball, when I went on the tour, they said Samuel Ball didn't find anything. It was just a show publicity thing to get the viewers. They said that he owned lot 32. No, he didn't, because I have the deeds. I have his deeds, and I have my great granddaddy's deeds on both sides. I have Donald McGinnis's deeds, and I have some of Anthony Vaughan's deeds. And it just so happens, strangely, that in Anthony Vaughan's wills, it was the exact same stuff that my sixth grade granddaddy owned. And he didn't give it to him because it was all left to his children when he died. Because I have my sixth grade granddaddy's will too. And I have Samuel Ball's will. I have Anthony Sr. and Anthony Vaughan's wills. Because even the Vaughn family married into my sixth great granddaddy's family. So yes, I can talk about this stuff. And I was even told that Donald Trump had friends that owned land on Sam's Island. Well, when you look at Sam's Island in Mahone Bay, and you go in aerial view, strangely, like where the fuck's the houses? Is it all underground? Because that's maybe another place where you should. Because even for Epstein's The majority of the biggest majority of the stuff that was happening, it wasn't happening above ground. The same as P. Diddy shit, which, he's the representation of Samuel Ball. If you go look up a picture of Samuel Ball and then you put it next to P. Diddy, they look like the same person, only Samuel Ball was, you talk about time travel, right? So this is why they want to call the herd, because people are waking up, people are speaking up. And my question is, why are you not speaking up? Because you're constantly talking about it. By talking to the person next to you, it ain't doing shit. People will come on TikTok and stuff like that, and they'll put stuff up there. But my question is, why are you not showing your face? And why are you not using your own voice? Because people will use an automated voice. I've seen people taking other people's contents and making a whole page out of it. Because I actually follow the original people who did the videos. So you're stealing other people's contents to profit yourself. No, because I'm not in here to profit. I don't care if you like my videos. I don't care if you subscribe. I don't care if you follow. You don't even have to believe a goddamn fucking word I say. But I will advise you to look into it before you do it. So to all you people that'll say one thing to one group of people, and then when you're in a wholly different group of people, you'll agree with their narrative. You're a fucking two-faced piece of crap. But people say, "Oh, well, people can change their mind." No, not like that. It's because you want to fit in. It's like, are you going to do what's right, or are you going to just work to fit in? Am I insulting you? No, you're insulting yourself. At any time I'm in a conversation with my ex-husband and I say anything, I get shut down. Like this morning today, I was in the tub and he come down and he was telling me about EGs and how the electrical current and how it pertains to the Schumann resonance and everything like that. I said, dude, why are you coming to tell me this stuff? I already told you this stuff a long time ago. What? Because I didn't have a diploma or I didn't have a doctor. I don't know anything. Go tell everybody else they're a genius when they just mostly talk about the same fucking thing over and over again. And that's what we were taught. People even say, like, there's someone who, with regards to being a biologist, what was it, 40 years ago almost? You don't, you no longer know because biology, it changes all the time. Things are constantly changing. That's why it's constantly finding new things all the time. Not everything goes in the same fucking pattern, but you will believe it does. I don't know how many times I had this person say to me, oh, that their sister's a genius, their sister's a genius, but I come on and I bring things forward, but I'm just a stupid fucking bitch. I'm a stupid fucking cunt. I'm a stupid idiot. It's like I know who you are. It's like, so you think you know everything? No, I know I don't know everything. That's why I ask questions to get to know what I know. Maybe it's you who thinks that you know everything, and that's why you tell me that I'm a stupid idiot, and you're actually, even when I proved you to be wrong, you still don't accept that. Oh, well, no, he would do it. Actually, do I really? Or do people believe that I do that when I actually say, okay, I understand that because I actually do. Or I will go look into it and then I bring it on here. I bring all sides of it. Like I said, I don't work for the system because you worship a God that is the system. But my God doesn't expect me to worship because a true God would be accepting of questions because it means that you are willing to learn outside of the narrative. You're willing and ready to see outside of your perceived world and you're not afraid to see beyond it. The only ones that don't want you asking questions are the ones that are hiding and they're afraid that you'll get to the truth of it. And that's why right now, that's why they're trying to do the sexual sterilization. And what you're seeing come out in the world today and now or what have you, it's always been there. You've just been blindfolded and now the God creator source, the true higher essence, it's pulling down that veil. It's saying, I'm ready to take and rip that the fuck off. And that's why you're seeing what you perceive to be psychosis when it's actually the spirit waking up and coming back to the physical body. It's that integration, heaven and earth becoming one, the physical and the spirit, accepting the teachings and the understanding and knowledge of each other. You said Jesus wanted to leave his spirit body, yep. But that's a part of when you leave a capsule empty, that's when gets infiltrated. That's when you are part of possession because you're not connected. It's like in 2019 when I was dying and I could feel it was like my essence was trying to an escape for me because it was taking and it was being crushed and it could no longer live in the physical body because the physical body was so beaten, battered, and it could no longer survive. It could no longer survive in physical. So it had to, it was like it was trying to leave, and I was trying to kind of follow, but catch it and bring it back, say, no. It's like internal balance. And this is the stuff, you say it was Jesus, but it was actually Mary Magdalene, because how dare a woman say shit or question a man's authority. So the Christ that would have died on that day would have been the Christ that was in the womb of Mary Magdalene when she was put on the cross and stabbed to the side. And you said that water and blood came out. That's because it was the waters of the amniotic sac, the water of the baby, the life force of the baby, and the blood of the baby. The two Christs. But you'll laugh at me that you must be a man that's indoctrinated into a system to believe that women are pieces of shit. Your leaders, but people still won't get that part of where the water would have came from that would have come out of Jesus, as you say. But it was actually Mary Magdalene, and it was the amniotic fluid mixed with the blood of Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene. And the other Mary was the mother of Mary Magdalene. But you won't, because you've already been indoctrinated into believing one way or another, but you eliminated the feminine altogether, right? So next time someone tells you that the world is overpopulated, just remember 8 billion people can live in Texas comfortably. For 8 people to live comfortably, they need 300, roughly 350 square miles. And there's 57 million square miles of land in the world and 140. Well, so don't let them tell you that the world is overpopulated. Because if they want to call the herd and they want to exterminate, I think they should exterminate themselves. People will take offense to that. What's the difference of me saying that as you guys condoning all the killing in here and killing each other's tribes, which means that you're killing your own family. So, hey, don't preach about family, don't talk about family, because that just goes to show that you don't care if family gets killed or not, because you've already been doing it and you're condoning it in your books. Because I don't really see a lot of positive things happening in there. Maybe the odd saying, but it's mostly about God's coming to kill you because you're nothing but sinners. The ones who manipulated the book are the sinners because they are the systems integrated into society. And if you didn't get that yet, then you keep seeing yourself as a sin. But it was said, you live under sin. And living under sin means you live under the systems integrated into society. Are you ready to take the blindfold off? Or is it okay for the veil to be pulled down? Say the aliens are coming to hurt us. There's no, the ones that are trying to hurt you are already here. And they're the ones trying to keep the ones who are trying to free you or take you out of the rat race. Because, like I said in other videos, welcome to Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark, Noah's Ark is actually a laboratory. Not filled, it wasn't first filled with animals and that's it. It was filled with the DNA. And that's why you hear about DNA manipulation. That's why you hear about the CRISPR aspect of it. That's why you're seeing these really fucked up creatures. But people are saying it's AI, it's AI. No, it's not. It's stuff that they let loose from the laboratory. It's stuff that got loose from the laboratory. The really weird, crazy looking stuff. Some of the stuff, it worked out. It's the same as humans. You'll say about clones. Well, clones are they're done from cell, right? They grow from a cell, much like what you're saying about the lab meat. It's the same fucking thing. Like seriously, you say about eating lab grown meat, but how do you know that those fucking cows that you're eating ain't lab grown? You say, are you sure? You say about clone, right? You say about people being cloned. So if they can clone people, it's easier to clone an animal than it is to clone a person. So how do you know, even if you get a cow, how do you know that it's actually not from a clone cow? You don't. So, hey, wars happen because people are waking up. And the same thing with regards to the land, everything was happening in World War One, the same way everything was happening in World War Two, because my dad's having grown up. The same thing was happening because they've been manipulated. It's called Weather Notification Information Act. Go look it up for yourself. And it's your farmers and your businesses, things like that, your government that has the hand in it, and they have to be approved to do. So before you say it's horse shit, actually go take the time to look it up. And if you don't want to do that, then maybe you should keep your fucking mouth shut and talk about something that you do know. Because I would be looking into it myself, because I did look into it. Because when people started, like when you hearing more and more about with the way the weather is, and people are saying about the floods and things like that. Do you know that the floods are caused from, like, the dams are breaking because dams were never meant to be put in? Greed put dams in, but you see that's not true at all. The only true dams were the dams that the beavers put in. And then people even had to go move those because it was causing problems in their fields. It was causing problems in their waterways. That's how they hoard. So they'd rather put you in droughts so that they can build their structures and make a profit and watch you starve. And then when cutting corners on building the dams, those dams break, they watch you drown. That's where most of the floods are. Where most of the floods are coming from. Dams are letting go because they were never natural. All water was supposed to be connected, but you cut it off from its natural sources. And then you wonder what was the mistake that it's in. Time to wake up now. And with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, and blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting and willing to receive and accept. Child, be big, love, greatness. Be yourself, be your authentic self, be true, kind to yourself, be true, kind to others. And just know that, take what you will. But hey, today represents the day that your Christ died because of standing up for you. Have a great long weekend.